Hello folks, Jonathan Milam here, and I do hope you're having a great day. Let's talk Austin Custom Brass Mouthpieces. I've got here a Custom Reserve, which is their more expensive, high quality line. And the first thing I noticed when I put this thing to my lips was, wow, that is a really comfortable rim. Of course, this is an acrylic piece and very neat. You can see how the throat goes down, and I really do like that. As you can see, kind of a broad throat and a relatively large taper. But oh, the rim on this thing is nice. Now I will say it's a size small for me. The stats, this is their L3 plus 4D plus L3D. L3 plus 4D plus. And somehow the L3 plus was a lead piece for one of the guys there. That's what the L stands for. No idea what the 4D plus stands for. But it is, this particular one is about the rim ID of a Bach 10.5. It's about the diameter that we're looking at. Really nice, relatively rounded rim, but boy, it feels good. We'll get into another one in a little bit that is quite rounded, that has a very strange feel, but this is livable. Okay, what did I want to say? Throat 26, so usually a 27 is your average throat, so this is a little bit larger and lets you move some air into it. Really nice rim. Okay, I'm going to use a custom trumpet here. It is a Jaeger. Excellent trumpet, which is of all things at the moment is for sale. There's a link on the first line of my comments that'll take you to Trumpet Herald. This particular one leans a little bit dark, which is probably good, so it shouldn't be too brittle a sound with this. Gonna tootle around with an old gospel chorus. If any of you recognize it, let me know. And we'll start with the verse on that. But I think it's got enough movement. It'll showcase this mouthpiece fairly well. And I don't think you'd want to use this for orchestral. But when you do, you know, it just leans towards that lead, slightly commercial sound. I'm not a lead player, and but you get a mouthpiece like this, it makes you think maybe I could be a lead player, and then maybe not. And that is as good a high F as you're going to get out of me. Really an impressive mouthpiece. I know the custom reserve pieces are not cheap, but let me tell you, if you can do that with it, and it's a size small, that's something. Now, I will say it's taken me 4 or 5 days to be able to acclimate down to that, but just what a zippy, nice mouthpiece. Now, this is a piece that is probably similar. This is a TA-Lead, and again, a lead piece. This has a relatively straight probably what you'd call a shallow V cup to it. 28 drill. That's the thinnest part, and 28 is a little tight for me. I usually struggle with that. You won't find me trying to hit high notes with that. But a very nice general, again, commercial sound. And believe me, we've got some others that are not commercial sounding pieces, but this just happens to be as well. Just a little harder for me to get those high notes because the throat cuts me off. I do like a more open throat. In fact, I'm just thrilled with an old Mount Vernon 7C here. And if you can see, the throat is so open on this. Picked up another one that came in with the trumpet that I had, and no open throat. So it just is not giving me the sound that I like. I definitely like the open throat. Okay, now this totally different beast, deep V. Years ago, Trent Austin put this out. It was the TA-TF, and that stands for Trent Austin. That's the TA. And the TF stands for trumpet flugel. And Trent said you can use this when the conductor is giving you the hand, as in back off, tone it down. While it is a trumpet flugel piece, a deep, deep V, he told me, he said, there's no way I can make this in a cup. It's hard to measure this drill size just because of the way the throat is, but I suspect it's around a 24, maybe a 23. Sometimes they say a loose 24, tight 23, but something like that. Very much a mellow sound. And I've said if you're in an intimate circumstance, you're playing with a little foursome and you're very close to the people, this might be the mouthpiece that you would want to use. I think it's one of the best mouthpieces I've ever had. Now, the thing I've said about this is, even though it is a very, very deep V, it does not stifle your upper register. Certainly doesn't make it easier, but you can get up above the staff with this. But a very nice mellow piece, and does not kill your upper register. It's certainly not what I would call an upper register aid. Now, I like these two mouthpieces so much. This Trent, I used to use it all the time when I was making videos, and then I realized it was a little easier for me to play with it was a little easier for me to work with a slightly more open throat. But I liked it enough that when I went from a 10.5 ID mouthpiece and decided I wanted something a little bigger, like the Box 7Cs, that I sent this piece to Matt Frost. And of course it came as a cup, so you know you can use it with the Warburton backbores. But what I wanted to do was to keep this cup even though I was going to a larger rim. So I sent it off to Matt Frost. I'll put a link here, Frost Custom Brass. And he took off the 10.5 size ID that the TA-Lead is, and he put threads on it. And now I can thread well, this is actually a GR64 rim, but fits perfect. Matt actually worked on that mouthpiece, just opened it up slightly on the outer diameter. You can see where the brass is, so that it would fit with my rims and work with them. Wonderful, wonderful thing to do. Now, if I ever decide to go larger, and I'm fiddling around with the Box 7s or Mount Vernon 7C, which is a larger mouthpiece, I thought of maybe trying some rims that are in the 5 realm. And if I do that, I won't have to get rid of all my mouthpieces. I'll just have to get 1 or 2 larger rims and then can affix them to the mouthpiece. Used to cost, I think, 38 bucks. I think it's $45, $48. Well, a new mouthpiece now is costing you, you're lucky if you can get a new mouthpiece for 100, 150, 200, 295, 395. Sometimes you're talking. A lot easier to replace your rims. So somebody like Matt at Frost Custom Brass is a winner. Now this is a piece that I've had for a little while. Again, it's in acrylic. This is a Austin Custom Brass 3DS. And the 3D, of course, if you've ever used a 3C mouthpiece, the 3D is just a little bit shallower. Got a 27 drill, like you'd expect. The 3DS, the S stands for smaller. So even though it is patterned after a 3D, he shrunk the dimensions just a little bit. To me, this feels like real close to a 7. You could probably use it if you're used to a 5, but real close to a 7. If you're playing Reeves pieces, if you're using a 60, what would that be? Excuse me, if you're using a 43, this would probably work for you. But ACB's 3DS. And this should be fairly close to a legit sound, just a little bit shallower cup. Now this would work real well if you were playing maybe a slight pops. Again, it's not going to give you the depth that you would need for a real concert sound, but it would certainly be a little easier on your lip than the average C cup that you might find. Okay, this mouthpiece, again, one of ACB's, and unfortunately it's black, so you can't really see what it is, but it's got a huge throat. And the first time I picked it up, I thought I had the same experience when I first used my GR64M-S. I thought, whoa, whoa, people in the house are going to complain. But just a very powerful mouthpiece. And this does what Trent does best. This is a copy of the Alcas 127. But Trent said he made some changes that made it a little more usable. And Trent is a trumpet player and a very good trumpet player. But he also has the ability to transfer his knowledge into usable pieces. And this is such a neat mouthpiece. The only thing about it, this has a very rounded rim, and it does throw me off. I just switch a lot of mouthpieces because I'm usually demoing horns, and it's hard for me to use anything like this because it's so much different than everything else. But if I was looking for one mouthpiece that really projected, that wasn't necessarily a screamer sound, this would be an option for that. And so this is the ACB 127. Some really nice mouthpieces. Trent does put out some really usable pieces. The TATF, again, a piece that I've used for years to demo horns when you wanted a slightly mellower sound. It is just a work of art. And I have to say, if this, what was this? The piece that I originally started off with, if you're able to use that, the Custom Reserve L3 Plus 4D Plus, wow, what a very, very nice piece. Now you can't see it, but what it does, it comes almost straight down, but just for a distance, and then it goes into a really relatively big throat is what it is. So it's easy to play, one size larger drill than usual. So it just funnels you into the piece. Very nice. And, oh, that rim. That is almost to die for. All right, just some fun with the 5 ACB pieces. Hope you've enjoyed this. Down at the bottom, if you want to contrast one sound to another and just click back and forth, I'll have the I have them cut there so you can switch if you want to see what the Alcas 127 sounds like in comparison to the first piece or the TA-Lead. You'll be able to do that. As always, take care of yourself and someone near you.